Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Hot Seat. I am your host, Brock Vieira, and we will be joined shortly by Mark Wilson of Team NBS Media. We're going to be talking about everything in the world of basketball. Before he comes in, I want to start by beginning to just talk about the current state of the NBA and what we're looking forward to as we approach the NBA Finals. Now, obviously, the Miami and Boston series hasn't been decided yet at the time of recording. Tonight, Miami plays Boston in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Miami. Miami looking to close out the series, win 4-2. Denver's already in there. Well done to the Nuggets. They've been a very underrated team for majority of the season, even though they were the number one seed in the Western Conference. But I think it's time that we all kind of start giving our flowers to Denver. I'll be the first one to admit, if you look back at this series and anything when I talk about the game of basketball, I didn't have much faith in the Denver Nuggets. I thought obviously they were going to get out of the first round, but I really thought that Phoenix was going to have them in that series. Obviously, it ended up not being the case. They won in 6. And then after the Lakers were going to win in about 7 games and Denver came in, they were, all about their business and they got the job done. Obviously, we saw Jamal Murray pop off. We saw Nikola Jokic become a major ball distributor in the playoffs. But, as the other guys, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., especially Aaron Gordon in Game 4 that really stepped up and started banking those major shots. So we're going to talk a little bit later about LeBron, legacy, and Lakers. But first, I just want to start off by giving Denver their flowers for what they've been able to do this season. Now, before we bring this gentleman on, we're going to be talking about a variety of things in the world of basketball. We're going to be talking about his hometown favorite, Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to be talking about what we could expect entering this offseason and so much more. Maybe we'll be talking a little bit about betting. This is Mark Wilson. Mark, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good. I didn't know it was a video, though.
It's all good. We got some thoughts we're going to get from him quick, but before I do that, I want to give this gentleman his flowers, his introduction. Mark is a fellow member of Team NBS Media, one of our leading figures in terms of getting our online content published when it comes to anything CEO, I think that's what it's called. Well, getting those ratings up, getting those articles. Mark is the main guy. He also has a clothing brand called Rich Kid Clothing. We'll drop the link in below. Mark, welcome to the show. A lot to talk about, but let's begin with your Philadelphia 76ers. How you feeling about it now that we're a couple weeks removed from their exit in the Eastern Conference semifinals?
I'm feeling like let's get ready for next season. I mean, there's nothing too much to it. I mean, they had a chance in Game 6, chance in Game 7. They stunk it up. So, I mean, really not too much. I mean, I heard about it, for the past, 3, 4 years, this is how they've been going. Second round and they out. So this is nothing new. So like my heartbreak was over 2 years ago. I'm not even shocked about it. So, just get ready for next year. We get rid of Harden or, whoever, bring in some new players, get rid of Tucker, hopefully Tobias, build around Embiid or Maxey. That's even if they want to build around Embiid. Who knows at this point? You're MVP caliber player for the past 2 to 3 years, and you haven't got us out the second round. And for me, I'm a fan of the team. I'm not a fan of a player. I'm a fan that I'm born and raised in Philly. I'm a fan of the Sixers, not Embiid or Maxey or Harris or Iverson or Dr. J. I'm a fan of the team. So whoever's on my team, that's what I'm going for. If you got to go, you got to go.
Absolutely. And someone that did have to go and went was head coach Doc Rivers. Philadelphia and him agreed to part ways. I know that your smile isn't the only one in the city of Philadelphia when it came to his firing, but who would you like to be the head coach next for the Philadelphia 76ers?
Man, to be honest with you, I don't even know. Coaching to me is weird because they get the credit when they win. I mean, the players get the credit when they win, but the coaches get the blame when they lose. I think it was Tatum that said it best. When he talking about his coach, he's like, "Yo, he didn't miss the shot," and that's fact. Like I could draw up the greatest play in the world off an inbounds play. If you don't make the shot, how was that my fault? That's one thing I never understood. When our coaches, when it comes to substitutions and calling timeouts, that's different. But when it comes to making shots, that's not on them. And that's what happened with Doc. Like Embiid went like what 7, even if he went 7. He attempted 15 shots in game 7. He couldn't make a shot. Harden could not make a shot. How was that Doc Rivers' fault? Now he had 3 years to turn the tide around in Philly, but he couldn't do it. That's more on the players than anything. As far as the next coach goes, I don't know. I don't know who I trust. Do I trust Nurse? No, he had probably the most talented starting five in the NBA in Toronto. Couldn't get it done. Who else on the table? I forgot the guy named Budahauser, whatever his name is, from Milwaukee.
Yeah, like
He got
Buddha.
a raw. He got a raw deal. That's a raw deal right there. Giannis was hurt like what 2 games out the series and they lost. You won a championship 2 years ago and you still get the boot. Like something ain't right there. It's more to it than that. It's more to it than the wins and losses in Milwaukee. That team won 55, 56 games this year, and he gets the boot. Nah. Who else we got out here? Who else is free?
Monty Williams.
Tyler, Monty Williams. I mean, no.
No,
I mean, I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust none of these coaches out here that's available. Everybody going crazy over Nurse and, like I said, Monty Williams and the guy from Milwaukee. They got fired for a reason. So, I mean, you know, you I don't know. If I work in a restaurant and I burn the food up at this restaurant, you think the next restaurant gonna hire me? You're a food burner. Like, you know, it's wild to me.
yeah, you're absolutely. You're absolutely right, and obviously coaching is a major element of the game. But you brought up a great point. You still got to knock down the shots, and someone that was knocking down the shots in the playoffs in a losing effort was Jalen Brunson. Obviously, you're a Sixers fan. You're from Philadelphia, but you live in New York. What's the environment feel like? What's the culture? What's the environment like right now when it comes to Knicks basketball?
Knicks basketball. Oh my God, it's not. All right, they team to me is on the up and coming. I mean they need better size. The coaching is okay. The issue with the Knicks is it's not the team, it's the media. And the one person I feel sorry for, well, two people, is Brunson and Randall. No matter what anyone says, Randall has carried that team for 3 years. Brunson get there, now the media is like, oh, this Brunson team. Like, damn, y'all just gonna do Randall like that? And don't think these players don't have egos. They have egos. So Randall is hearing that in the media, like, oh, yo, that's probably why he jack up the shots that he jack up. He don't care no more. Like, I carried y'all for 3 years. I made 3 straight All-Star appearances. This dude come in and drop like 25 points a game. Now it's his team. That's dirty. I will feel some type of way about that. That's like, no matter how good Pippen was, it was never Pippen's team. It was Michael Jordan's team. Like, give Randall his respect. If I'm not mistaken, Brunson didn't make the All-Star team this year, but they just handed him the team. But but other than that, we got to remember that, and there's no excuse. Quickly was hurt during the series against the Heat, and he is probably their top bench player, but he did not play probably what 3 of the games, and that's what 15 points lost. But no one talks about that. But I'm going to talk about it. He was not there. That team is up and coming. They just need more. To me, Brunson is not a point guard. Brunson didn't play point guard in Dallas. He is not a point guard. He is a shooting guard. He's like Curry. They need to be at the 2 spot. New York needs a real point guard. Brunson is not a real point guard. He is a scoring guard who can pass the ball at times. Is it Barrett? Barrett? RJ Barrett? Yeah, RJ Barrett. Lord have mercy. This kid. He's there one game, going the next. Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson is a $60 million treadmill runner. He runs up and down the court, for $60 million. He don't do anything. Rebounds are hard. Rebounds are hard to get for the dude, but he's making not $60 million, but I mean throughout his contract, he's making $60 million to do cardio pretty much. But he doesn't get the touches. That's why I believe Brunson is not a point guard. Like you got a big man down there who defends and rebounds, but y'all not giving this man the touches on the offensive end. How much more do you think he's going to hustle for you if he's not getting the ball on a mismatch? But Brunson wants to jack up shots like Luka. Like they come from the same mold. They come from Dallas. Brunson wants to jack up shots. Same way Randall wants to jack up shots. And y'all forgetting about Mitchell down low. He's like, you know what? I'll walk up the floor. I don't care. So that's where the Knicks are at. They just need more. They need a point guard to me. They need a point guard.
Yes, absolutely. I think that same thing could be said about the Philadelphia 76ers, that they could also use an upgrade at the point guard position. There is a pending free agent in Kyrie Irving, who they recently announced that they're not looking to do any type of sign and trade deal, so he could be signed as I believe, a restricted free agent. Please don't quote me on the restricted or unrestricted part. Could we see a return for Kyrie Irving into the Eastern and Northeast Conference or Northeast Division?
Dallas not letting Kyrie go. They gave up too much for him for what 20, maybe 20 games, maybe 20 at the max. They give up too much for him just to let him walk. And Mark Cuban is going to give that man that money. Kyrie, Kyrie coming back to the East, no, that's not happening. He's going to stay right where he's at in Dallas.
Gotcha. So obviously, there's another name on the market. He's a little vet, older, injured. Chris Paul. Could we see him go to either the Knicks or the 76ers?
Whew. The only way that would happen is Phoenix would have to cut Chris Paul. Like, because no one wants that contract. I think it's like over what 40 million he's going to get next year coming. Who wants that? No, they're gonna have to cut him and just sign him, and hope he just takes a vet minimum. Like no one in their right mind should trade for Chris Paul with that big contract. If you trade for Chris Paul, you need to be fired.
Yes, absolutely, and that's something that we could see. Obviously, we've seen in the past with players like Carmelo Anthony. They get traded and they bought out by a team that clearly doesn't want him, and maybe he'll make his way up to that conference. Transitioning from the East to the West, what, in your opinion, does the future look like for Russell Westbrook as we enter this new offseason?
The future for what team? I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Russell Westbrook.
Okay, see, this is personal. That is by far my favorite player in the NBA right there. What does it look like for him? Wait a minute, he was just on. If I'm the Clippers, I'm finding a way to keep him. And I try to talk and write as if I'm not a fanboy, so I'm gonna try it right here. Russell took a lot of heat in LA for things that weren't his fault. It wasn't his fault that LeBron and AD was hurt. It's the same thing that went on with in Brooklyn with KD, Durant, and Harden. They didn't work because everybody was always hurt. LeBron was out, AD was out, but since Westbrook played 77 games like every year, he took the blame because he was always on the floor. Like, dang, I would love to have that problem if I'm a GM. Like, I got an all-star player who's always playing. Okay, so for him, then he went to LA, and you saw what happened with the Clippers. Once again, what happened with them in the playoffs was not Russell's fault. It ain't his fault that Paul George was out. It ain't his fault that Kawhi Leonard was out. It's like he keeps putting in these bad situations where he got to keep taking the blame for stuff that's not his fault. Now, granted, hitting the side of the backboard on a three-pointer, okay, that is your fault, bro. You do need help with that. You need to fix that. But Russell has never been a shooter, but with them players out, he has to do things that he should not be doing. So in my opinion, I think he stays with LA because that's the best fit for him. Unless he want to come to Philly, I'll take him all day long.
Absolutely, and Philadelphia is in talks per se about moving some players. Obviously, there's a hypothetical sign and trade deal available with James Harden that could send him back to Houston or to the Suns. Would you be willing to engage in a trade for James Harden to those two teams? And if so, what would you like in return?
For the Suns don't have nobody.
They did trade away all their assets for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, so. you don't need Ayton because you got Embiid. They're not giving up Booker. They're not giving up Durant. Other than that, I mean, who we train for the Water Boy? Like I don't. There's nobody else. There's nobody else on the Suns I want. Phoenix. I mean, you mentioned another team. What was the other team?
Houston.
The only problem with the Houston is that Houston has the money to sign him outright. So they probably won't do a sign and trade unless they just want to get rid of players. That's the only problem. Houston is the only team in the league right now that can sign Harden straight up and out. That's what's going to complicate things with Philly. And then at that, I'm not even sure that Houston wants to do a deal with Maury. That's the other problem.
Mm,
So, but if Houston wants to give up some of their young players, by all means, give us Jabari Smith, I think, Jalen Green, cool. But Houston already has the money to sign Harden outright. They don't have to do a trade.
absolutely. And as a Houston Rockets fan, I just want to say that
Oh, that's right.
Philadelphia will never get his hands on Jabari Smith Jr. ever. He can have him when he's like 30, he can have him when he's 36. But before that, he's going to remain a Rocket for as long as
I like that
possible.
kid, man. And I ain't gonna front. That team is young, but it's something about that squad, yo. They just missing. Oh, they just missing something. That squad is not bad. They young and they take unorthodox shots, but they're gonna be all right, man. I like watching Houston play, and I like betting on them too. So that's another reason why I want them to go nowhere. I like betting on them dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, they brought in Ime Udoka. Will be interesting to see if any of the guys from Boston who are currently on the outs and the Celtics
Mm,
make their way down to Houston to try and build
mm.
up that culture. But we're transitioning to something that you and I are both very passionate about, and that is the world of sports betting. Now, obviously, we got the Celtics and the Heat tonight. Do you see this game being ended in Game 6, or should people be betting on either of those teams in Game 7?
Man, oh well, who watching? I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Over here. Like we are Team NBS. We do a spaces every day, and I listen in. But there was something that was said maybe a couple of days ago, and I wanted to barge in and disagree, but I was busy. I think starting at game 4, and it's all through the media. There's like all the pressure's on Boston. How is the pressure on Boston when they're already down 3-0? Everybody's picking Boston to lose. The pressure is not on Boston. The pressure is on Miami. Because Miami got to close this out. The reason I say that is because you don't want to be that first team that reaches that history of losing a 3-0 lead. Right now, Miami is looking real shaky. If they lose this game right here, it's over. Because you're not winning that game 7 in Boston. I say that because that's the same thing that was said about the Sixers. Close this out in game 6 because you don't want that game 7 in Boston. It's the same thing with Miami. You don't want that game 7 in Boston. Miami has lost 2 straight. It's not that they lost by a last second shot. They lost by 4 points. They've gotten the ass whipped. I think by 30 combined points in the last 2 games. They have got straight and taken outside to the woodshed and got beat with a switch. Boston has figured something out against Miami in the last 2 games that should have Miami fans and Miami very scared entering the game tonight. It don't matter if they home or not. Miami has beaten Boston. I mean, Boston has beaten Miami, on their home court. So this ain't nothing. And we're also forgetting this is the reigning Eastern Conference champions. I don't know why people are forgetting that. It's not like they just came out of nowhere this year and said, let's play ball. Dude, they've been doing this for about 2 to 3 years. They was in the finals last year. They won over 50 games this year. They got 2 All-Stars on their team, a former All-Star and Al Horford. Like, this team is not a bunch of bums. So Miami went up 3-0. The whole internet is going crazy. Oh, they about to shut it down. Now everybody's quiet. Because now you're getting a real Boston team. And they don't know how to act now. So if you lose this game and you go to game 7, you might as well just write your name in the record books. And I'm counting everybody. So I think Boston is going to win this game. I think Boston's going to win the whole damn series.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for everyone that wants to join those spaces that Mark was talking about, Team NBS Media hosts spaces at 2 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, talking about everything in the NBA. Now, something that was talked about in those spaces was the Nuggets and the Lakers. And I think a lot of us had the Lakers winning the series, except for Keith, who's a hometown Colorado fan. And a lot of us had them winning in like 6 or 7. Denver came in and swept the Lakers at an absolute just dog walking style, and partly due to Jamal Murray's big points performances. As we go forward to the NBA Finals for the betting fans, should we carry on and keep hammering that over for Jamal Murray, or should we look to the under when it comes to?
Man, that Denver team is super scary. If they face Miami, Yeah, I give. I don't even know if I give Miami a game, and that's being honest. Once again, that Boston team is something different. When they're cooking, you can't beat them. Like right now, they're cooking. Um, the problem I have with them facing Denver is that Denver don't have the size to match them. They have the shooting, but they don't have the size. Man, if it's Denver and Boston, Lord have mercy. I'm going Boston. I'm going Boston. If it's Denver and Miami, I'm going Denver.
Absolutely. So, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. I got one last question before
Yes,
we let
sir.
you go. Philadelphia 76ers, obviously the hometown team. We talked about the players, talked about the coaches, and we briefly mentioned Daryl Morey. Is it time to clean house in Philadelphia, or how would you like your Sixers to proceed forward as they enter this offseason?
Oh, I'm blowing it up. Like I'm saying, I mean, I would make I would make a call about Embiid to a few teams just to see what we can get back. Because for one, he's about to hit 30, and he's about to hit 30, and I don't think Embiid has played over 70 games in the season his whole career. That's also something to take into account. Yes, he just won an MVP, but the team hasn't won anything. So I don't say you trade him, but I say you make the calls to see what you can get. If you can get about three good players and some draft picks, yo, do it. Tobias Harris. I mean, I'm calling everybody. I'm calling everybody in the NBA. I'm calling the CBA. I'm calling the Turkish League. I'm saying who I can move this dude for. Um, Let me see. Harden. Well, to me, honestly, I really don't think Harden goes anywhere. Him and Maury, they just too tight. It's just a matter of how much money Harden wants. Um, PJ Tucker making $11 million this coming season. Like, I don't know what the hell they was thinking. He averaged 4 points, 4 rebounds the whole year. They were like, oh, well, he's a dude that's going to keep the team together. Like, these are like 30-year grown men. Why do they need another 38-year-old man to keep them together at this point? That's what the coach is for. So I'll use that $11 million somewhere else. Who else? Who else can go? Man, the whole damn team can go. Yeah. The GM, they got to go. Brand got to go. You play that Duke, so I don't even trust you to begin with. Um, but no, I'm blowing it up, man. And once again, that's my squad, but my alliance is to the team, not the players. So I say blow it up.
Absolutely. And for everyone watching that would wonder what a potential Joel Embiid trade looks like, here was the trade conversation
Word.
for Rudy Gobert, who has not even remotely close to the skill or accolades of Joel Embiid. And Gobert was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Patrick Beverly, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Leandro Bomero, and a draft rated center Walker Kessler, in addition to 4 first-round picks and a 2026 first-round pick swap. So, wow, and that is for Rudy Gobert. So if the Sixers were ever to pull the trigger on a trade for Joel Embiid in this offseason, they could get back an incredible haul depending on which team they would send him to. Wow.
Woo,
Mark,
woo.
thank you so much for coming on that show. Obviously, we will be talking soon personally because we got some money to win.
I was,
Maybe
I was, I was, I was just about to ask you. I'm like, yo, we got what? We got about 2 hours. So let me know. Let me know what you want to do.
yeah, I gotta put in my research. I gotta watch my film. I gotta watch some tape. But
I'm done.
can you tell everyone where we can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at BX Reporter. You can find me on Instagram at Rich Kid Clothing. Uh, that's pretty much it. That's all the social media I really use.
Yeah, and real quick, talk about Rich Kid Clothing, what you guys are about, and what you guys are attempting to achieve.
Um, yeah, Rich Kid Clothing started in 2018. First we started out as a record label, which Rich Kid came from. It was Rich Kid Entertainment. So when we decided to go into clothes, we kept it a Rich Kid Clothing. We are urban streetwear clothing line based out of the Bronx, New York. Accolades. Let me see. 2021, we were the feature brand on New York Fashion Week. We won a few awards for fashion. We lost the streetwear fashion of the award, fashion streetwear fashion of the year award. We lost that last year. I ain't gonna front. I'm still kind of hurt over that one because that other line, no, they wasn't better than us, yo. That was some crap, yo. Somebody bribed them judges, man. I'm telling you, that was just dirty. I was all dressed up, suit on. I was looking fly too. I was like, wait, when? I wanted to fight. Like, no, let me stop though. But no, we've been in business since 2018, man. Everything is for us is like taking it back to 90s fashion. With as you can see, like we like the big designs that's in your face. None of that small polo stuff. Like, it's just taking it back to the 1990s, man.
Absolutely. And for everyone, you guys can be the judges for yourself. Shop at richkidclothing.com. That's where all his inventory is at. Once again, Team NBS Media, guy that covers sports, everything in the world of television and movies, and basically everything in the entertainment world in general. Mark Wilson's got you covered. You can check out his articles at teamnbsmedia.com. We'll catch you next time, Mark. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, everyone, when we come back from commercial break, we're going to be talking a little bit about Lakers and LeBron and his legacy as we wrap this up. We'll be back.
This commercial is brought to you by TrueBrain. Say hello to TrueBrain. We're not magicians. We're not going to turn you into a rocket scientist, unless you're already a rocket scientist. We're not Big Pharma, and our products are custom made to boost mental output. We empower people to do their best thinking.
Welcome back to the hot seat. Once again, I am Brock Vieira. We just got off with Mark Wilson of Team NBS Media. Once again, check out his articles at teamnbsmedia.com, and then you can check out his clothing at richkidclothing.com. Moving forward, obviously, we talked about the Nuggets giving them their flowers. Now, the team they beat was Los Angeles Lakers, who are the most polarizing and media-followed team in the NBA. They have one of the largest fan bases around. They are an international brand. And a lot of people expect them to make the NBA Finals, like we previously mentioned. Clearly, they didn't. They got swept, and it kind of left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. LeBron has even contemplated retirement, but I think we can all, as a basketball community, agree that's not happening. But what does the future look like for the Lakers going forward? If you want to read my complete thoughts, you can check out my articles, LeBron, Lakers, and Legacy at teamnbsmedia.com. But kind of going over it, they really got to start to restructure their team. I don't think LeBron should be a 3 anymore, and that's not a discredit to him. I think he's just much more effective as a ball distributor, someone that can drive to the rim. He took some very questionable shots throughout the entire series, and even though he started to knock down some threes in Game 3 and a little bit in Game 4 as well, his poor second-half performance in Game 4, along with the missed threes in Games 1 and 2, which ended up costing them those games, a lot has to be questioned about it. To me, Austin Reeves is the clear perimeter shooter that the Lakers have been missing for a very long time. But how do you feel about the rest of that roster between 3 and 4, and then obviously AD at the 5? Do you put Rui at the 3? You go out and get a power forward. Do you put Rui at the 4? You go out and try to get a small forward. Do you keep LeBron at the 3, which I don't think is the right decision, and maybe get another point guard instead of D'Angelo Russell, or do you just run it back how it was, which I don't think that's the right decision to make either. No matter what way you go about it, you gotta figure out a way to make the most of LeBron's final years in the league, because it's becoming quite evident that we're minus 5 years, and even 5 years is a stretch at this point. It could very well be next season. It could very well be 2 years. Now, do I think LeBron's career is going to end with the Lakers? I don't. I think that he's committed to playing wherever Bronny plays, and I think that whatever GM drafts Bronny, if Bronny James gets drafted, has to understand that you're not just drafting Bronny James, you're drafting the James family, which is not a bad thing. You're going to be acquiring one of the best players of all time who physically is still very much fit and able to play. LeBron has had some injury issues, but I'm not very concerned about that. However, that's down the road. When we talk about Bronny, still has to attend USC this year. He still has to play a season of basketball. And who knows, he might not even come out of the draft after his freshman year. Maybe he wants to go back and try to play his sophomore year and develop more. That's all questions for down the road. The question of right now is, what does Darvin Ham do? What does Rob Pelinka do? What does LeBron do to try and acquire him talent that fits his play style? You made several trades throughout the season, and you brought some really great players, and guys like Vanderbilt have really stepped up since coming onto the Lakers. Russell had some games here and there. Beasley had some games here and there, but this roster doesn't feel like it can go out next season and contend for a title. Who's that guy? A lot of people are saying Dame Lillard, but it's going to be really hard to get anything that could resemble a trade package for him. So that's kind of out the question. And the Blazers have the number 3 overall pick, so they might be looking to use that pick to trade and acquire more talent to surround Dame with. It's really tough because the Lakers are in a tough position, both financially and with compensation that they could send around the league. But you gotta do something. My opinion, you put LeBron at the 1, Reeves at the 2, Rui at the 3. You go out and find the 4, and then you keep AD at the 5. Or, as much as I hate to say it, you look at AD as a tradable asset. He is the guy that gives you the most value. I think realistically, the Lakers understand that AD won't be a successful number 1 option when LeBron leaves. And, he's not getting any younger. He's getting older. He still has prevalent injury issues. And sometimes in the playoffs, you can't find him. Sometimes he's the number 1 guy on the court, dropping 40, getting 20 boards, whatever. Some nights he's scoring like 13, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Like it's too off and on for me to say, yeah, let's keep this rolling forward. Obviously, we'll have to see what people and teams are giving up, but I think it wouldn't be that far-fetched to see some kind of trade where we see Joel Embiid come to LA and Anthony Davis go to Philadelphia. I know that sounds crazy for Philadelphia to trade its reigning MVP and number 1 option in face of the franchise for the past 6-7 years. But once again, Joel Embiid isn't getting any younger. We could see them clean house in the front office. Maybe Daryl Morey wants to go back to playing small ball like how he did in Houston. There's so many variables that we really can't keep track of or, say that for sure something's not going to happen. I didn't expect Rudy Gobert to get traded for as much as he did. So the ever-changing world of the NBA will keep on evolving. And here at Team NBS Media, we're going to try to keep you guys as updated as possible, giving our own opinions. Even though sometimes our opinions can be biased by our favorite sports teams. But we're going to try and be honest as much as possible. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do my final NBA wrap, talking about Miami and Boston. And then after that, we're just going to do a quick outro, tell everyone where you can find the show and everyone where you can find more Team NBS Media. Once again, this show is sponsored by Team NBS Media. You can find it at teamnbsmedia.com. They are a website that not only talks about sports, talk about entertainment, culture, lifestyle. We got food articles on there if you want more recipes. Whole bunch of stuff going on. Check out teamnbsmedia.com. Miami plays Boston, like I said, tonight in Game 6. I expect Miami to win. However, there is something to be said about whoever wins this game is going to be put at a significant disadvantage. Denver has had all this time off to rest up and heal, and whoever is going to play that series is going to be tough, considering they have so much more obstacles to overcome, let alone having to go get a 2-time MVP in Nikola Jokic. A lot of people are back on the Boston train, and I'm not one of those people. I think Miami closes out tonight in Game 6. I think it's not going to be fairly close in the 4th. I think I have Miami winning 128 to about 115. I think it's going to be high scoring. Like Mark said, you got to jump on the betting train. I love the same-game parlay, so I will be placing some wagers on that. I just see Jimmy Butler coming out and having a really strong game. I think him and Bam are really going to work that pick and roll, and I would not be surprised to see Jimmy Butler drop 35 tonight. Once again, I have Miami tonight over Boston. We will have a lot to talk about in the future. If you want to talk about more basketball, join us at the Spaces, Team NBS Media on Twitter, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, hosted by Melo Williams and Kevin Lucas. Both gentlemen I've had on the show before, both very knowledgeable basketball minds. Steve Rogers of Team NBS Media is also a constant guest on that show. He covers Minnesota sports, so if you ever want to talk about the Rudy Gobert trade, definitely don't be afraid to antagonize him with that. I'm just really excited to see this Denver team play in the finals. Obviously, this is the first time they're going to be at this level in franchise history. It seems right. I still have memories of that young Denver team that had J.R. Smith and Carmelo Anthony, and I think Chauncey Billups was the point guard at the time. I think they traded AI at that point, but don't quote me on that. I think Nene was also on that squad. Also, don't quote me on that. I think Birdman Anderson too. So that was a really fun time, and honestly, never could get over the Lakers, and they finally did in dominant fashion. And I really don't think Nikola Jokic is going to put up a tremendous amount of points throughout the series. I think his assist levels are going to be double digits for at least 5 of the 7 games if they go to 7 games. His ability as a passer is very unique in terms of the modern game, but it's not the first time he's done it. I'm going to mess up his name, but Ardinis Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis' dad, when he came over, I believe he's Lithuanian. So when he came over to the league, his knees at that point were shot, if I'm not mistaken, or something about his lower body because of all the wear and tear he took on when he was played for in the Soviet Union. And he was still such a beautiful passer of the basketball. That's something we're really seeing with these, European bigs. Not only Nikola Jokic, but we also see that there's points of times where Giannis becomes a ball distributor and other, big European bigs. That is that going to be the new style in which you train big men as we go forward, especially here in the States, where we're seeing a lot of players become basketball-only guys that are not playing football, guys that are not playing baseball, which I vehemently disagree with. I think you should be a well-rounded athlete, but that's neither here nor there. For these guys that constantly play basketball, are we going to see them develop their game to be much more of a distributor? And how will that affect the game going forward as we enter this era of quote-unquote positionless basketball? I just think that for the current thing, I think is to hit Michael Porter Jr. I think Porter Jr. is going to really shoot a lot of shots. I think they're going to really try to make Aaron Gordon drive to the basket to hit that mid-range pop shot. So much that's going to go on. I think Jamal Murray will get his baskets, but of course, we can only wait and see. I'm looking so forward to it, as previously mentioned. And I think whatever happens in this series, when you look at how to construct a team, that's really going to impact and influence team building going forward. In Miami, finding those valuable UDFA guys. In Boston, learning how to play without a true point guard. Or is that if Boston loses, or that the telltale sign to everybody that you do need a true point guard? Or, in Denver, how the big man position is going to evolve and how you are able to equip as a smaller market team some various superstars. Kind of the same thing Milwaukee did when they made that trade for Drew Holiday. Denver made some trades around this, around the league over the past couple seasons to try and acquire talent, something they're not able to do in free agency, and for them, it's worked out very well. We'll be talking about this more. Once again, if you want to check out and talk basketball, join us in the spaces. I'm Brock for the Hot Seat and Team NBS Media, and we'll catch y'all next time.